What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Morbius, what are you doing, man?
What's going on? Just catching up on some reading. What's going on, brother? How you been?
Well, good, everybody. Welcome. My name is Justin, aka KnowGoodComics, and welcome back to the channel. You are watching another episode of Comic Relief, the show where we talk about hot topics and sensitive subjects around the comic book hobby. So, of course, I got my main co-host, my man Morbius. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Justin? How you doing? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, man. What were you reading there? Some X-Men, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Just, checking out a little Kitty Pryde there,
I dig it.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man. So I'm happy to be here today. It's awesome. Those who don't know, if y'all don't know, go check me out on my YouTube channel. It's the same as my handle here at Morbius Comics. And also, if you haven't been following me on my Instagram, y'all go check me out on my Instagram. Got the same Morbius Comics. Shout out to everybody in the chat and shout out to everybody catching this replay. So I think let's just why don't we just bring on our guests?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we always have somebody with us as we break down some of these topics here. So we got my man Comic Book Rob in the house. What up, Rob?
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. And I'll say now, as Morbius just talking about everything in the description, I also put Rob's information in the description. So anybody not following Rob over on Instagram, I highly recommend it. The man literally posts fire every single day. I shouldn't say literally because it's not literal fire, but it's like awesome books.
No,
so
it could burn the camera.
It can definitely burn the camera. And this is your first time on my show, Rob. So welcome. I'm on my channel, I should say, on my channel. So I appreciate you, being on with us and just being a guest on Comic Relief with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm thrilled to be here. I got to tell you, I started this account 5 years ago now, actually. I think it's almost to the day, coincidentally. But I really just bought Fantastic 448. I loved it. I didn't know what to do with it. I wasn't really collecting comics at that time. It kind of fell out. And I just wanted to show it off. I put it on my own Instagram account, and nobody cared. I was like bothering people. So I started a new one, and like all of a sudden, like I was like, "Shit, this is like popular."
Yeah, man, it's a big book, man.
I have to say though, I'm jealous, man. I need to redo my walls. Looking at you guys, I got all those Alex Ross covers too, and they look good.
Oh yeah, I saw them.
Thanks, man. Oh my goodness. So before we get in, well, first let me just clarify. So the topic for tonight, we're going to talk about, hypothetically speaking, if there were to be a comic book crash that happens in the comic book hobby, in the industry today, what would that look like for collectors? What would that look like for investors? What would that look like for anyone and everyone that's involved in any way, in this hobby? So just to set that up for, people, whether you're watching the replay right now or if you're watching this live, which, by the way, we got 18 people in here. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Appreciate everybody watching. Let's say a quick hello to the chat, and then we can dive into this topic. So let's see. We got right off the bat, we got my man TM Nerdy in the house. Station, brother. Good to see you, Travis. Something Wong. What is going on, my dude? Let's see. We got Unruly Simeon in the house. We got my man Phil, Comic Talk Weekly. What's going on, Phil? Good to see you. We got my man John's Comics with Kids. John and I doing the X-Men show at 9. Always good to see you. Yeah, hashtag triggering folks. Yep, that's the show, man. That is the show. We got my girl Sheena in the house. What is going on, Sheena? Thanks for stopping in. We got my man Paul Morris, BJ Morris. I know you two were doing some live stuff over the weekend.
Oh yeah, we were cracking some slabs.
I see that, man. You guys were cracking me up, is what you were cracking. We got Claiming Comics, my man Jason. What's up, Jason?
What's good, Jason?
Shout out to Dale of Suspense, also hanging with us today. Good to see you, Dale. We got Fuzzy Dunlop over here hanging out with us all the way from Scotland. Appreciate you hanging out, man. It is early for him, or late for him. Empire Comics with us as well. Good to see you, Empire. Uncanny Swag in the house.
Nice.
See, we got John Stout hanging with us too. If you guys are new, make sure you sub up the channel. Appreciate that.
Yes.
We got my man Nigel, Desired Comics, also hanging with us today. Station, brother. Let's see. Chat just jumped on me. We got DJ Lynx hanging out with us today. What's going on, Lynx?
What's going on?
We got the crew, the Low Grades crew in here. Good to see you, fellas.
What's going on, guys?
Good stuff. Let's see. We got Michelle hanging with us, Moonlit Comics.
The Golden Eye.
We got Dave C. Yeah. In the house. What's going on, Dave? I like that name. Marcos in the house as well. TJ, Thomas Jackman. We got Bricks in here. I think I'm caught up here. what Spider likes, what's going on. I love
What's
these
going
things, man.
on?
All right, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and following these two here, whether it's YouTube or Instagram. But let's get into the topic here. So, and I'm going to throw this to you, Morbius. I already kind of clarified. This is hypothetically.
Right.
We're not saying that this is
saying,
happening.
right.
We're not saying that this is going to be in the. You know, we don't know what's happening. You know, what's possible. But we're just saying if there were a crash similar to the one in the 90s, you know, what would that look like for those today on different aspects of the collecting of the hobby in general? So Morbius, I'll throw this over to you first. How do you want to approach this?
Well, I mean, you know, when I heard the term comic crash, of course, I was like, okay, what are we talking about here specifically? Right. So, you know, I started looking around, digging, and I see people were mentioning it, bringing it up. And I was like, okay, so they're anticipating this crash because of such the hype, all this speculation. Obviously, when eventually you're gonna hit a ceiling, and it's all gonna come crumbling down. You know, that's the ideal behind this crash. You know, and we actually, you know what? You just reminded me. Cheers, guys.
Oh shoot! Cheers.
Cheers.
My bad. We ran right into this. My bad.
All right, now that
I'm just excited, you know.
Oh yeah, I know. All good. So then, you know, you think about it, you know, is there going to be a crash? And if there is a crash, who are going to suffer from it and who are going to benefit from it? You know, so when you look at it from two different perspectives, like I did, you know, I come at it obviously from a collector point of view, you know, because I'm not an investor. I'm not a flipper. I don't do anything. Everything I get stays in my collection. Yeah, I know that. So to me, I would look at, let's say if the value starts to drop, I would be, you know, happy about it on my end, you know, because now I'm thinking, well, I could get more books, you know, that's how I would see it, you know, well, I could get, you know, more in my PC now. Now things are going to be more available as far as value goes, you know, and it's going to be more economic for those who are searching for these books that can't get them now, you know. But then on the other hand, the people who, you know, are hoping to make an investment or to sell these books, you know, and it doesn't necessarily be a flip or anything like that. It could just be somebody who just wants to move this book to be able to get another book, you know what I mean? Or invest it in some other way. Now to them, you know, in my perspective, I would think that would be a little bit more of a scarier scenario to think that the book that you own that's like worth, let's say, whatever, 10 grand, 15 grand is now going to be worth 5 grand, you know, or 4 grand, you know, and you had an opportunity to sell it at that time and you did it. So now you're sitting on this book, and the likelihood to go back to that level anytime soon, obviously, is minimal. So that was my idea behind it, where I was just thinking about it like, man, how would that be? You know, and to me personally, I'll be a happy motherfucker if that would happen. You know what I mean? I'll be like happy like a pig in shit. Right. You know? But that's just my take on it. Rob, what's your take on it?
Morbius, I think I agree with you. If I've said this a few times, if there's a crash, I would just buy more comics. I would speed up. I wouldn't slow down. But I don't know. I've thought about it. I think we all, everybody with a big collection thinks about it, especially once you start buying expensive books. I remember I would say when I bought a few years ago Wolverine's first appearance, 181. I already had 180. We can have that conversation another time. But
I'll say it wouldn't be the first time on this show.
So I bought 181. I spent over $2 grand. That was a lot of money. That was a big deal for me, you know.
Sure.
But what made me it kind of made me think about two things. It made me think about insurance for the first time ever, and it made me think, what happens if there's a crash? And I've kind of been, I'm like Morbius. I'm not really selling my books. You'll see me every now and then. I'll sell a few. Usually it's just to make space for other books. Mm-hmm. But I do consider myself an investor too. You know, I don't know who's going to want these books after me. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my comics. I don't know who's going to want these books after me. You know, ideally I would leave them to somebody, I guess, but like that doesn't always work that way. So, you know, I do think about the value a lot too. But I think at this point, the industry is a lot more stable than it used to be. In the 90s, it was weird. You had people buying up books that nobody cared about just because they might be something. And not that we don't have that now, but, you know, people are buying up now. It's like they're buying up books of characters that people care about that just maybe aren't so popular. Like maybe the book itself isn't popular, the character itself isn't popular, and it suddenly becomes popular.
Yeah,
so I think it's a little different. We're not speculating on Exo Man of War anymore, where comic book stores are buying 500 copies and then just putting them in boxes. And then I think now we could. I mean, we're susceptible. I think any industry is susceptible, but I think it would take a whole economic crash, and I think the collectors among us probably wouldn't hate it. I mean, depends, I guess, on your situation at the time. If you lose your job in the crash, you can't spend that extra money, you're gonna hate it too. But if you're all right, you got a little bit of money in the bank, you can spend it. It'll make up for now, because right now it's like I stopped buying comics so much because it's like I can't afford anything anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy right now.
And it's like true. When you think about 2 years ago, think about all the books you were shopping for 2 years ago. Daredevil's first, Daredevil 1.
Please
I was shopping for that. Not anymore.
Don't remind me. Okay?
I kept saying to myself, I'll get it soon. I'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
I'll eventually
get
it.
Yeah, trust me, that 181 is haunting me, okay?
I got in right in the beginning of when that started shooting up a couple of years ago, and it made me nervous. But then I realized these books don't go down unless there's an economic situation, the one crash in the 90s, and when the characters lose their popularity. Like Iron Fist really got killed with that. But
right,
Wolverine's so popular. Even now, I don't know too many people that love Wolverine comic books anymore, but he's still so popular. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh no, I was to say I feel like they're definitely out there. A lot of diehards for Wolverine. This whole thing for me, and I knew this was the angle you were going to go at, Morb, and so I'm glad that this is. I was talking to my girlfriend about it. I'm like, if this is where he wants us to go, I think this is where he wants us to go. So this is a perfect setup. And Rob, let me say here now, we always like to clarify we are not experts. We're obviously fans. We're just sharing our experience, sharing what we think based on what we've gone through. But we do like to butt heads at times, out of all respect, and especially with the chat and everybody, which I see there's some good comments already. So and then there's also some devil's advocate that we always like to play here and there. So one of the angles that really came to mind for me, because I get what you're saying, both of you, with the idea of like, us personally, the three of us, the way our style of collecting, and the idea that like, ooh, that means I could buy more of these keys because they go down, because we're not necessarily selling per se, other than, like you said, Rob, maybe the one or two, for whatever reasons, or God forbid emergencies or things like that. But one of the big things that stand out to me with this particular topic is overall, because I do stand with where you are, Morbius. Overall, though, in the grand scheme of the industry and the community, I would think that it hurts everybody, including us. And by including us, I mean, usually, and again, if we're comparing it to the 90s, let's say exactly what happened in the 90s happens again this time around. I was reading articles on this. It's like 2/3 of comic book shops shut down because they went out of business. And if shops are going out of business, that can't be good for the collector. I mean, sure, like if your shop stays open, okay, good. But not everyone's going to be as lucky as you. And if that's the case, less people are going to be in the hobby. And my personal, not goal, but what I personally enjoy seeing is I enjoy seeing more people in the hobby for whatever the case may be. I want more people involved, especially younger audiences who are growing up, to keep this alive, because 50, 60, 70 years from now, like, no one's going to know who we are, but I hope that these characters are still alive. I hope these books are still alive. And if a crash happens, anything like the 90s, like, it's going to hurt a lot of different other facets of the industry, not just us. Obviously, I know you're talking about us three in how we personally collect. It would help us, but for shops and things like that, it would go down. And then if that's the case, then it affects collectors. And then if collectors can't buy their books because their shops are closed, or they got to go to third parties who overcharge or something like that, and they have to overcharge because they're trying to keep afloat to begin with. There's all these other things that can turn people down, turn people away from the hobby, and then ultimately, sure, like the three of us could be here with our random books, but if no one else cares about them, then
the way I see special. It to play off that is if they survive the pandemic, they'll survive this crash. That's the way I see it, because when you look at the pandemic, they had to shut down. They were not even allowed to sell books. At least they're going to still be allowed to sell these books, but they're just not going to be selling them at such a high value. And also, hold on,
it's such a different situation, though.
Right, but I'm just saying, that's just my perspective, that I feel that also when it comes to new readers, that might actually bring in some new readers, because now they feel like, oh, okay, well, I could afford this stuff that I really want to get now. Where as opposed to now that somebody comes in the game and they see us dropping books left and right because we picked them up years ago, you know, they're trying to like, oh, I want to do what they do. And it's like, oh, fuck, I can't pick these books up. Like, fuck this shit. You know, I'm not going to bother with this. You know, let me go find another hobby that I could afford. You know
but the other thing with that is there might not be new publishers at that point. So there was a lot of publishers that got shut down or they stopped. There were a lot of creators who could no longer create. I wanted to highlight what Sleepy Reader said here. He said a sad part of the crash in the 90s was the loss of a bunch of great creators from the field and a number of publishers too. And then not that he mentioned this, but you know, the shops, a lot of shops closing down. So it wasn't just the shops, but it was the publishers, it was the creators losing jobs. It was so much more than that. So when new collectors or new readers come in, if they're looking to read and there's no new books because the publisher's like, we just can't make the books because we can't make a profit anymore, then that in itself is not going to, and I mean, sure, you can try to get people into the old stuff, but that's just the old stuff being recycled again and again. Like you know me, I'm a big fan of new books. Like I love indies and all these, I love the fact that creators and artists can make a living and not be signed to the big two, that they can actually go and do what they love as their dream and not, you know, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, like you really had to be signed to the big two or else no one knew who you were. They didn't care who you were. So, you know, for same thing here, like, and if we're losing publishers because the same thing happened in the 90s is happening now and they start closing down, that's going to affect the readers or what we talk about as the new readers.
But what I think now, looking back to the 90s, these publishers, like you said, they were very rare and few publishers and it was these big boys. Now you have so many indie guys, you know what I mean? So many smaller guys with smaller staff, but they are pumping out a lot of material because they have a lot of creativity behind their staffing. So I don't really like, once again, I don't, you're going to
They can do that now, but
I'm not going to say that there's not going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. That's inevitable. But for it to be somewhere to where it was like how you know, trying to make it say like it's really going to be a big effect. I don't think so, because I think it's just going to bring back down the value, but it's not going to sit per se, like stop you from selling. Like, that's why I say, I look back at the pandemic, you know, they stopped people from selling books. You're not going to stop selling books. You're going to still sell books. They're just not going to be selling, you know, a $129 at, you know, $700.
But there might not be new books though, if there's no publishers or no creators that are putting this together.
But no, my point is like, okay, now when we're talking about for that to happen, I say that for them not to have any is an extreme, because the fact that we have so many and the fact that a lot of them stood afloat without any cash flow. You understand? They stood afloat without cash flow.
Well, we're saying if the 90s happened again, we're saying if what happened in the 90s as our example happens now, that means remember Marvel went under. They went bankrupt. We're talking about multi-million-dollar company going bankrupt. And these other Boom Studios and all that, they were nowhere near the size of what Marvel is. You know?
No, but I still feel that they could stay afloat based on the fact that they don't have that much revenue and much overhead to cover. You know what I mean? They're running on a lower income value, so they could maintain themselves. You know what I mean? It's these big boys are going to be suffering like they did in the 90s. You know, but you look at these little guys that were coming up, they kept their head up above water. Right. You know what I mean? So that's good, Rob.
I think it's the opposite, actually. I was going to say, I think you're both right, but I think what the last thing you just said is the opposite. I think the smaller publishers are going to get crushed. They might even get killed. I think it happened. You saw it with Image. Image almost disappeared in the 90s. But I
even
think
like Valiant was another one that went
exactly. And even some of the smaller DC titles they had, they kind of disappeared too. But I actually think that if there's a crash, it's not going to look anything like the pandemic. But I think Morbius has a point, though, in that we kind of already seen Marvel and DC get hit hard, and they survived. I think it would change things, certainly. It would change things in a big way. But I think Marvel and DC would be okay. My one point that I'd like to bring up with the biggest difference between now and then is, I don't know if you guys remember the 90s when they had The Wizard came out, and every month they were speculating on what movie would come out, but no movies ever came out. Nothing.
Right.
Like nothing. Nobody likes Blade. Look, I'm sorry, Blade fans. Nobody likes Blade, but we were all just so excited to see a Marvel movie that everybody loved Blade after that. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think we would just start, like you said. We would start. You could have gave us anything, and we would be like, oh.
But nowadays we have so many movies, and they're constant. They're always coming out. Not all of them are going to be good. So certain characters are going to go up and down because of the movies. But I think the movies kind of opens up an international audience that wasn't there before. It was just American people buying these books back in the day. And now I'm not saying that there's huge demands in other countries, but there are demands in other countries. It's even a small demand can help prop up the prices for us. So that just didn't exist, you know. And the movies bring that. And not only do the movies bring attention to characters, but they bring attention to. So I think I have a feeling that though, no matter what happens, I think Marvel and DC overall will endure long term. Like I said, when I'm investing my collection, you know, I dropped $2,000 on 181, which is probably I don't even want to look at it now because all I'm going to see is I can't buy a second copy.
Right.
I can't even buy a one.
But you know that might go up and down over time.
And it was the pandemic that messed me up, man.
Yo, so what happened with the pandemic? Can we talk about that real quick without going off on a tangent? What new comics people couldn't buy them? So what? We all started buying keys again, right? Is that what happened? Everybody bought up the keys.
I mean, I think that a lot of it was. I think Morbius is frozen, by the way. Either that or he's thinking long and hard right now. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think what a big part of that was the fact that a lot of people were home, they were bored, and they were looking for something to do. So those who were on the edge, maybe they used to have a past of watching the cartoons or enjoying the movies or whatever. They started to explore it a little more, and they started researching a little more, and they're like, oh wow, these books are worth a lot of money. Let me go ask my grandma and my grandpa if they have any books, or my dad and my mom if they have any books. Oh, you do? You have an attic full? Oh, let me start exploring that, you know. And then they just got into it that way, you know. I think that's like one. And then obviously like the movies, that's a big big cause to a lot of this. It introduced new collectors to the hobby. I mean, I'm one of them. I mean, I got into it 3 years ago, not even, and that was a big, a reason that I was because of the movies. Here's more. Hey bro, you froze up, bro.
I don't know what happened there, man.
We thought you were thinking really hard for a second.
I'll go with that.
All right.
One thing I want to say though, before we change topics or before we get off on another tangent, I think those indie comics they're in danger if there's a crash, because honestly, that's where I see the speculation. I see people buying up 20 copies of those of some of those image books. I'm always tempted to do it. You know, you saw Berserker, that book. I don't even know how half of CGC is probably that book right now. So
they printed so many of that book.
Yeah, so I think if there's going to be a crash at all, even a correction, a smaller correction, I think it's going to be those books that get hurt because everybody's buying up 20 of them, hoping that Netflix, makes a show out of it. Exactly. And then you need the show to be good, though, in those cases. So you can even buy up 20, 30. Netflix can make a show, they get a bump, but then the show sucks. And then they're going to be nothing forever, or at least for a long time,
Right. Dank was just saying one of the big differences between the crash now and the potential correction today, the 90s was pumping out trash, and it seems like the industry today is pumping out gold. Yeah, which I mean that is definitely for sure. And we're not arguing that there's going to or not be one, but we're just saying, what if there was? That's the main thing. And one thing to mention to what you were saying, Rob, was your picture, you're saying like you don't think that you think DC Marvel could handle something that happened in the 90s. I also do think that ultimately they will be able to push through. In one of the biggest things that we haven't mentioned is the fact that Marvel being backed by Disney now, having that kind of money power behind them.
Right. I was going to mention that when you talked about Marvel before, you made a point about them going bankrupt. Now they got Disney, and DC.
Right, man. It's true.
Warner Brothers might kill DC.
Now, again, I'm not saying, my argument was saying if this really happened and it replicated the 90s. Right. But truthfully, I don't see us having a crash. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
We're not. No. We want to talk about if this happened.
If there was. Right.
And I'll be buying a whole bunch of motherfucking books.
Yeah, a lot of people here are saying that they would buy a lot of books with you.
But somebody who's, I have a, what is it?
Preview show showing Hulk 180 and Hulk 21.
Let's not get into that. We're not going to get into that. But I saw somebody else had comment. They said, well, modern and current books are going to take a crash, but back issues are going to go up in prices.
Right. Which you might, yeah, that might be, but to me, that's not a good thing. Though,
that's not a good thing. That's fucking sucks because I'm a back issue collector. So it's like I don't want that to happen.
Oh wait! You said that the new comics would go down, or what did you say?
That's what he was saying in the comments. He was saying it's the crash is going to happen to all the new stuff that's coming out because obviously they're investing in this.
But the back issues will be popular.
But the back issues are going to become popular, and then the back issues are going to raise in price.
That could be
that's a possibility. That's
but see, you and I, we both agree that that's not good, but we both think it's not good for different reasons. So you think it's not good because you won't be able to afford your keys because from what he's saying, based on what he's saying, and you're right. It's gonna, books are gonna go up, older books,
right? In general,
right. And I think it would not be good. Part from that, I think it also wouldn't be good because new books is what keeps true LCSs going. Yeah, that's like free money to LCSs to be able to just, especially those who have a pull list. That's guaranteed money for the LCS, not guaranteed, but essentially guaranteed money that they know. Okay, my customers who agreed that they want me to pull this stuff, they're coming in for this. So I can already say I made $1 off this. I made $1 off. So that they're making all that money. So to the guy's point that you're talking about, the other comment, it's definitely not good. It
goes both ways.
Right. It's good for half of it, but not good for the other half, which in turn means to me it's not good for anybody.
Justin, I think you made a really good point because as much money as I spend on comics, and it's way too much, the local comic book stores don't love me because they're not making their money off of keys. That's not where they're getting their money,
Right.
So it's like I walk in and I'm like, I feel like, I'm about to drop $5,000 in comic books the next year. You got to be nice to me, but really they don't have to be because it doesn't matter. Maybe I'll buy 2 or 3 books from them, but that's it.
Right.
Sure.
No, what Justin said is very important, and that's why I love this guy because he brings it back in. You know what I mean? He's like that, like the sun moon, relationship, that gravitational pull. He just so that's why I love him. And then sometimes we have that solar eclipse that that where we crash and bump heads.
Solar
we part ways, and
another 365 days and we're right back.
Yeah, and then we'll be back again to duke it out.
Let me clarify, we are not scientists. Let me just clarify.
We're not astronomers with none of that stuff. Okay, I don't know nothing about that stuff. I might be wrong what I'm saying now. I don't know, but because somebody will point it out in the chat. But definitely, you make a lot of sense in that, in that point where new comic books will affect, your local comic shop from keeping afloat. And I said, if this crash happens, I still feel that if you survive this pandemic, you'll survive this crash. You know what I mean? Because the pandemic literally stopped you from selling books. Like you was not able even to go into your store and open it. And if you wasn't savvy enough to get online on IG and start selling books on IG, you didn't have a great budget, system before it happened, you'd be fucked. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like with this, if this crash would happen, stores would still stay afloat. It just wouldn't have that influx of cash coming in, and they'll be doing a whole lot of sales and bargain deals and trying to keep themselves afloat, which once again is not good for the store owner, but then again it's great for the consumer, for the collector. So you have that give and take, and unfortunately that's the way this world is. Some win, some lose.
Well, here's the give and take for you right here. Unruly, which is just putting it straight out there. Big boy books aren't coming back. We got to live with that. That may be true, man. That may be very true. The ship has sailed for a lot of these books, and it is very difficult to picture a world where, like a Hulk 181 comes down to half its price, or
I would buy 2 more if that happened.
Exactly. I'll just buy one. Damn it.
Yeah. No, but it's true. Like ultimately it feels like that.
It's not.
For certain ones. But it's so hard to tell. Right now it's just so hard.
It really is. And to be honest, like in my heart of hearts, I truly don't see it happening to that extent. You might see some type of influx. You know what I mean? Because like I said, eventually you're gonna hit that ceiling where something is gonna bounce back, come back down, but I don't see it happening to that extent where you're gonna now start rushing to your store, rushing to eBay. What we got here?
Dank was saying he said y'all not expert. You're not the experts. He says I've been buying every book y'all show on your channel.
Here's another one. Go get this right now. It's gonna explode. It's
Hey,
going up. Value.
What's up, Steve? We got Hip Hop
There
me
you
in the
go.
house. What's going on, brother? Oh, what was that, Rob? What was that?
I've been buying some Kang because I know he's coming. He's gonna pop in the movie.
Oh man, come on.
That's a sweet cover, man.
You'll see this on Comic Book Rob soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
What up,
That's
Fables Station?
Fable was good, brother. Yeah, Rob be dropping that heat all the time, man. Even the current, he be dropping that current heat, mod, everything. Silver
It's
Age,
funny.
Bronze Age.
My girlfriend's got a record collection. She just started her own Instagram for records. I told her, I said it's fun. I said you'll have fun. You'll talk to fun people, but it's gonna cost you money.
Yep. Yep.
Sometimes, I can't deny. There's been covers. It's like, that would look really good on my Instagram page, and then you got to buy it.
Of course. That's one of the reasons
gram.
why I love this community, because I'll be the first one to tell you. I don't know how many times I've seen somebody post a book that was nowhere near my radar. You know what I mean? And I look at it and I'm like, holy shit, like, why I don't have that?
It's my favorite thing about it.
Like, that's awesome. And both you guys have done that to me. I'll be honest, man.
Yeah.
Both you guys have
You've done that for me too. So
you know why I looked at stuff and I'm like, man, I gotta get that shit.
Gotta get that, Write it down.
Hell yeah.
Uncanny Swag says prices can't go up forever. I mean, that's also true.
Yeah,
like,
right. That's
it's gonna taper off.
It's gonna hit that ceiling.
There's going to be other years down the road that it's probably going to respike again at some point. But
it's going to happen.
Ebbs and flows, right?
About comic books is there's so many characters that there's always somebody going up and there's always somebody going down. So it's like, right now, you got to look for the characters that people aren't hot on. I tell people now, buy Iron Fist. Who likes Iron Fist? You can buy Iron Fist. I almost bought a near mint copy of his first appearance for $75. That's gonna be a $5,000 book if it's graded 9496. That's going to be an expensive book eventually. It literally might take 20 years, but
exactly. But it's going to happen, Rob. That's why I'm finishing my run. And Justin knows I'm constantly posting up, whether I picked it up or not, finishing my fillers or my Iron Fist. I'm telling people, don't sleep on Iron Fist. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I'm definitely with you, Rob, on that. And that's something that I tell people when people ask me, like, man, how'd you get that? You know what it was? It was that same instinct right there where I was like, you know what, like all my Marvel premieres, I collected my Marvel premiere run. I would say 4 years ago I finished my run, and I was talking to my boy Crash, shout out to Crash, J Baz, and I was telling him back then, because he was like, oh man, I'm surprised you collecting that. And I was like, you know what, I just had this gut feeling I'm just gonna knock out this run. Because why? Another reason, Iron Fist is part of that whole Marvel premiere run. That was his first appearance, second appearance, and third. So I was like, that just fell into place. So I'm like, you know what? I got this, so I might as well just keep going with it, and I collected it. And now out of nowhere, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know this was hot. I didn't know this was hot, because the only reason why I know is because when people post it and they're like, oh, look what I got. And I'm like, really? That's hot right now? Like, holy shit. I didn't know that. I was like, let me look that up. Oh shit, do I got that? Yes.
I stopped buying comics about a year ago because when I started school, I spent a lot of money on tuition and prices were going up. So I really was feeling like I shouldn't spend. But you know what? It's hard to fight the FOMO sometimes on the hot books, but you know what? I really have been trying my best to put the blinders on and focus on books that are not popular. Right now, actually, I'm trying to buy up all the Native American characters' first appearances. Okay. They're not valuable. I mean, some of them are worth a little bit, but they're really not. But all it takes is one or two movies or one show, and then all those books are going to go through the roof. So you could still, make. I like having a well-rounded collection in that respect. I like finding new characters that I don't know about, finding their backstory, finding their first appearance, looking that stuff up. There's characters out there. I don't know. 2 years ago, I was like, I need all the black characters. What? That's paid off for me already. It's already paid off. I just one comic I just picked up, Brother Voodoo's first appearance, Strange Tales 169. It kind of killed me because I was looking at that book forever and I was trying to find a good copy of it for like $50 about. You can't anymore. So it really upset me. I was hurt. But then I'm like, but I got over that quickly because I realized too, there's certain books that book is not, I'm upset because it's not a $50 book anymore. But like, I just bought it for $130 because you know why? Because in 5 years it's gonna be a $500 book, and I'll be like, I should have bought it when it's $130. So there's deals out there. Books are expensive right now, but there's deals out there. You can find them.
Hey, it's not FOMO if you're already collecting that run. That's all I'm gonna say. Not FOMO if you're already collecting that title, that run.
Let me add on to that too. But the other thing with FOMO, at least for me, I don't know about others. I'm sure other people are with me here. Even if I own the book, I can feel FOMO. Even if I own the damn book, because it's like you can always say to yourself, "Damn, why don't I have a second copy? Man, why don't I have a third?" Like you, Rob, you were saying, like, I wish I had an extra copy. You know, when you had it. But so FOMO is always, you could apply it to any situation.
Anything.
You know,
how
you could have 5 of them, and you're like, "Damn, why don't I have 10 of them?" You know,
the only time I can escape FOMO is if there's a. At this point, I've posted most of my collection. If there's a rare book in my collection that I haven't posted and it comes up, it's the one time when I can avoid it.
Man, listen, how about this, guys? When you get FOMO, you check your app, because I got my LCZ, CLZ app. So, I'm very forgetful. So sometimes I don't remember what the fuck I have. So I go into and I'm like, man, I want that book. I'm looking for it. And I'm like, hold on. Before I pull the trigger on this,
do I have this?
Let me see if I have this. Oh, I do. Okay, never mind. But then I still have FOMO. And then I'm like,
I was gonna say, sometimes I still buy it, even if I have it.
Should I get another one?
Right.
Is
the price.
God's telling me something to get another one?
Yeah, if it's in the dollar bin, then it's like,
right.
Okay,
Fuck yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah.
I wanted to answer this real quick. Moonlit Comics, Michelle, she was saying, what would even cause the crash that would result in shops closing, though? So I just want to, as just a explanation for her asking, because I see she has a couple questions in here. In the 90s, Michelle, one of the big things that happened was the fact that there was all this speculation on new books that were coming out. So because of that, more collectors wanted, they were ordering them or wanting to buy more. And then so shops thought that they were going to sell more. So they started diving in and really ordering on massive loads of all these different new 90s comics that were coming out. Just new stuff, not the original stuff, not the back issues, but like new things. They were hyping up the death of Superman and all these other key moments that haven't happened yet. They were just about to happen. And people were like, oh man, this can put my kids through college. This is going to be it. So because all this hype was going on, all the shops were saying, oh gosh, all these kids and all these collectors, they're going to buy a bunch of them. Let me start ordering hundreds of them for my shop, because they're all going to sell and we're going to sell out and it's going to be great. And then as they started doing this, and with Image, the boom with Image, they all ended up getting stuck with all these books, because people ended up not buying all the ones that they projected that were going to be bought. And, whether it was because they were bad stories, they were bad artwork, or, there were just several different reasons, as to why they were. Right. Like a lot of them just, they were forcing these stories out. This is like the point to what Dank was saying before, is that a lot of the books back then, they were just not great stories. Whereas now today, there's a lot of really great stories that are coming out, which would probably help combat, the problem of the crash. So I just wanted to clarify that as part of, what Michelle had mentioned, that basically the shops were left with so many books and no one to buy them. And so they missed out on a bunch of money. A $3 book, they had to buy it for that price and then sell it for $1 or 50 cents or whatever the case may be, just to get something back. So and that's just one of the examples, but I just wanted, that was the one that came to mind. So I just wanted to kind of share that for Michelle. We got Art Chemist in here. By the way, we got 28 people hanging out with us still. We had 34 at one point. Appreciate all you guys hanging with us.
You guys, man, for real. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, man.
If you're not following Rob, make sure you are over on Instagram. Put his information in the description below.
Dope ass stuff. The brother, I mean, he, like I said, I've caught many a times FOMO on his page. You know what I mean? And he's helped me with my PC, looking at his stuff, especially with that Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? He was killing it.
I try to cause FOMO. I try to find books that like are really cool covers, really cool stories that just people don't have.
Man. That's what it's about, man.
I like those Marvel team ups lately. I got like Marvel team up, Spider-Man Shang-Chi. I think that's a sweet book, and it's really not a popular one. But if you're Shang-Chi, you all know Shang-Chi is gonna blow up the world. He's gonna be the biggest name. Shang-Chi might be so big that Kung Fu movies might make a comeback.
Right?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? He might make it back again.
Could you imagine all these? There's going to start being like Netflix is going to start producing Kung Fu movies.
I'm going to pull out my Chinese slippers that I've had in my box for 30 plus years, man. I'm going to start walking around with them again. Yo, them shit used to hurt, bro. You thought they were comfortable? It's quite comfortable, bro.
What up,
Roscoe? Painful. But yeah, man, definitely, so I mean, as far as this crash goes, hey man, it's a give and take right now, and to be honest, it's more of a give than a take. I really don't see it coming down the pipeline, to that extreme where people are going to say, oh my god, it's just, the apocalypse of comic books, has arrived. But no, we are, like you said, Justin, it's an ebb and flow. So we might see a little down, treading, and then, but not as to the point where it's going to be pandemic level. You know what I mean? I don't see it happening.
I want to clarify here, because I saw Perry saying all the issues in the 90s that caused the crash are now irrelevant to today's market. Perry, the one thing we were talking about here from the beginning is that we are just saying, if there were a crash,
right,
what would that look like? We're not saying that there is going to be one, or that we think there's going to be one. It's just all hypothetical. Just want to clarify that anybody joining in.
I don't think there's going to be a crash, by the way. When you mentioned the topic, I kind of went, "Oh shit, is there a crash?" And I checked.
Is it coming?
No. We're just saying if. We're just saying if. It's a what if. It's like a what if.
It's a what if. It's a what if issue.
I don't think there's going to be a crash. We did touch on that in a past episode, but I think that this is. I say on my channel all the time, I think this is the best time to be collecting and reading comic books. There's so many great stories, so many great creators that are putting out just genuinely really good content right now.
Every time you say that, I'm like, no, Justin. 1985 was the best time to be reading comics, bro. And you have those books in your collection, so you cannot deny Punisher, Daredevil, X-Men. That, oh my God, that it's just
there were great books and stories introduced at that time. They were.
I get mad when people
stay quiet, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say nothing, but today, damn,
But that's all included in today. That's all included in today. But the stories today, I enjoy a lot of the stories that are coming out today.
Today, there's so many great.
Well, and they're modern. And they're modern. They're not like old school. They're not like corny. You know what I mean?
No,
they're not pumping them out like they used to.
Yeah.
It used to just be a factory. They would just come up with as much as they can and just pump it out. And I really like that there's so much now. It's not like so focused on one or two things. Or even in the 70s when Marvel started going towards the sky or towards space, they kind of focused on space. There was still obviously plenty of people on Earth, but there was a lot of focus on space. Now there's stuff going on in the Guardians books that have nothing to do with other books at all. They don't even touch them because it's almost two different universes practically. Right. But there's just so much going on.
Think about the years of telling stories. If you had 5 characters in your pocket and you're the writer and your job is for 40 years just keep creating stories with these 5 characters, like eventually you're going to start you're going to be scrambling to make things up and stretch, and introduce, okay, Spider-Man's going to show up in this one, and now they're going to team, now the good guys are bad guys, and all these other, because you just there's only so many ideas that you start to just.
Or when you're arcade and you go to Murder World, you put the X-Men inside a big pinball.
That's what I love that issue, man. I love that issue.
That's one of my favorite issues growing up, man. I love that issue.
I like Dank here said, can we all start saying correction instead of crash? Because that's more likely and it's less dramatic. The thing with this comment, Dank, is we are all about the dramaticness here, my friend. Man, we are trying to be as dramatic as possible with this hypothetical question.
Man. We want the drama over here. Bring that drama.
I bought Giant Size X-Men for about $500 3 years ago. It should never have been that cheap. Yeah. Never, ever, ever. $500 for that book.
That's a beautiful book, man. It's a beautiful book. And for those who just, they like, oh yeah, that's an amazing book because it's value. No. Go read the book. Look at the artwork. It is an awesome book, man. Great read. The cover itself is amazing. You know what I mean? There's so much to it. If you look into it, read between the lines, there's a lot going on in that book. So take the value out of it and actually enjoy the book. You're going to understand what we're talking about. But definitely we want the drama. Bring the drama. It's a crash. It's going to crash. Everybody's going to die. You're going to lose your job. You can't pay your rent. You're going to have to burn your books to just.
The sky is falling. John, I want to read John Stout here said, it won't affect me because I never really chase books. That being said, if there is a crash, I will probably lose my LCS. Luckily for me, there are a lot of longtime stores near me with decades of experience.
All right, John, you're lying because you chase books. Stop it.
It's something that
no. Everyone chases a book. Stop it. I don't believe you. No, I'm just kidding, John. No, you're right. Hey,
By the way, we're way behind on comments again. Sorry, guys.
All right, you know what? Let's do comments for right
now.
Read? Let's just go with comments. Rob, you cool with that?
Yeah, I'm fine. I was just gonna say, if John can avoid chasing books, man, good. I mean,
good luck, bro.
I'm literally as all I'm trying to do. I'm just like, I can buy this book next month, and it's like
exactly.
But I'm gonna buy it today.
And then next month is like $4,000 more. You're like, God damn you.
So if he can actually do that, good for him, man. I can't. There's always a book I'm chasing.
There's always a book I'm chasing, bro.
We got J2 in the house. We got Sith Lordly from the Spine Ticks crew also with us.
J2, Sith
we got Raging Cajun Comics hanging out with us.
Good, brother.
Just flipping through a couple names here. Thomas Jackman said the market will correct the prices eventually in the near future, but I don't foresee the industry going anywhere. Yeah, I think that's a fair statement to say. Fair. I think that's a fair statement. Phil says define big boy book. Is it a price thing? That's a good question.
Okay,
that's different for everybody, I think.
Right, I think big boy book. Okay, see, that's relative to the collector, I believe.
Yeah,
big boy.
I mean, $100 book could be considered a big boy.
Could be a big boy
if you've never spent more than $5 on a book.
Right, that's a big boy book for you. You know what I mean? But I think when we said it here, I think we meant it as iconic books, big boy books, in the sense that these are big grails. You know what I mean? Like you're looking at, First Silver Surfer, First Galactus, big books. These are what we consider,
You're saying like first appearances.
First major, like first Wolverine. You know what I mean? First.
By the way, you just mentioned something that made me think. I want to add something here.
Yeah. What's up?
When I started my account, I told you, Fantastic 448. I spent $67 on that book.
All right, Can we stop talking about that now?
Oh damn!
Now you're glowing over here. Stop it, right, Rob? Stop. I regret not getting you.
It was 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
It's amazing, man. I had it. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'll say it right now. So this was about 3 years ago. It was a bid $400 for the same book. $400, and I was like, and it was about to end. It was about fucking 10 seconds left, and I was like, you know what? If I throw another 100 on here, I might be able to pull this one off. And I said, you know what? That's too much. I can't do it, and I pulled out. And I could have had that book probably for like maybe $420, $450.
You probably regret it today.
Of course I do. I'm talking about it right now because I just want to jump out this window. I'm like, why didn't I just pull the damn? Because you know what it was? Because I thought to myself, next week, I'll get it for the same price.
It's Daredevil 1 for me.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Legion says I shop the hell out of DC keys right now. Shop where the market isn't.
That's what I was saying before. There's always characters that are low. Right now, DC seems to be a little on the down. At least compared to Marvel and some of the independent books too.
I wish I was a DC.
I feel like it's the movies play a big part in that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh yeah, big time.
And these things, those movies are in the garbage. They can only go up as far as I'm concerned. So
right.
I think DC will eventually have its day, and I think DC. I don't think it'll ever be Marvel.
A big thing though with Marvel with DC keys is that the fact that the key characters, all their first appearances are from the 40s, and no average new collector can come in and just be like, I'm gonna go buy the first appearance of Batman. It's just not that. It's not the same as us talking about some of these X-Men keys and things that are they're in reach. A lot of these are in reach, but Batman it's not in reach, not for a majority of us,
Right.
It's like the Baron Zemo first appearance. When that show hit, everybody was like, "Oh, let's go get Baron Zemo's book," and then it's like, "Oh, it's $800."
Even Bizarro. Just trying to get Bizarro's first appearance.
It's true. Yeah, like a lot of those
older side characters, you can't even freaking just grab.
Right? Yeah. No, in my dream, one day I will buy Amazing Fantasy 15. Eventually, I will. If I have to do it before I die. But I'm never buying Batman's first appearance. It's just never.
It's like it's so unrealistic. It's just so it just can't happen. Like it's so nuts.
Even if
I always say never say never. I never say never, but
that's not. There are plenty of good DC characters people can buy though.
So. Totally, no, there's definitely. But I'm just thinking of the core. When a Batman movie comes out, the number one book, that would naturally spike. You would think is Batman. But yeah, since it's just so far to reach.
That's pretty awesome, Thomas. I like that.
What do you say? Oh, giving out comics, every Halloween for 25 years, and the kids love it every year. That's a great idea.
That's great, man.
That is a great idea. If I had trick-or-treaters, I'd do that. I don't get trick-or-treaters here.
Yeah, I don't get trick-or-treaters over here where I'm at.
Unruly says we'll never understand the Brother Voodoo hype.
Oh, come on. He's
man.
the Sorcerer Supreme.
Come on, bro.
I think right now Marvel's obviously going the magic direction
too. You just changed that.
I do think they are going in the magic direction. Well, sorry, more what?
No. I said I liked it Unruly. Now I have.
Oh, you like?
I got mixed feelings right now.
Unruly is the man. He's the man.
Nah, salute to Unruly, man.
Let's see. We have Ragin saying that's why I usually buy 2 reader copy and PC don't touch. Yeah, I mean it's easy when it's something new, Ragin, but when you're buying giant size X-Men 1, it's hard to pull the trigger on 2.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult.
I actually don't usually buy multiple copies of comics.
I don't.
Rarely. With new issues, sometimes I will, just because it's like, well, maybe one of them will be a 9.8, so I'll buy 2 copies. But old back issues, I don't, because my opinion is I could buy 2 different back issues instead of 2 of the same ones.
I just call FOMO with the new Bitterroot cover. Fable, yeah. Yeah, I can see why. Bitterroot, I've been a big Bitterroot fan, and I'm gonna say right now, Immortal Hulk and Bitterroot are 2 runs that I buy 2 copies of since day one. You know what I mean? Why? Like I said, you know what I mean? If I ever have to, in a rut, shit happens, gotta sell a copy, but I still have one for my kids, so at least they can have one when I'm not here. You know, but I love Bitterroot so much that, and like what Rob said, I don't buy multiple copies. There are times when I'm in the comic shop, right? This I was thinking about this the other day, because when Justin was like, oh, if you see 10 181s with his like crazy fanciful fucking like tales, like that'll never fucking happen, but yet he expects a factual answer for some like not realistic scenario. Like, dude, what the fuck, bro?
Why can't you just tell the truth when we ask that question? Why can't you just tell the truth? Let me ask Rob that question. Rob, if you were going right now, today, Rob, if you're in the shop and you're going through the dollar bin and you came across 10 copies of Hulk 181, are you buying all 10 copies?
Yeah, all 10. Absolutely. Although I will say, I said that about Hulk 181, but that's different though. So all right, so I just posted the book I posted today. If you go on my Instagram account, I posted the IG Comic Store's exclusive of Miles Morales Spider-Man 25. I think it's a great book. I had a chance, even after it sold out, to buy multiple copies, and I just couldn't do it. I knew it was already going for twice on eBay. It would have been easy money. I don't do that. I don't.
Thank you.
But that's not the same as saying. But that's not the same as saying you find a dollar bin book.
Right.
No,
if you find a dollar bin book, you're going to take all 10.
No.
Justin, there's exceptions, Justin. But when it comes to like a book like that might have just been a spike. And then I don't want to. Well, first of all, I'm not a great moral person. I'm doing it because of my own. First of all, I want more books, more different titles of books. But also, like a book like that, my thought is like, all right, so I could have bought it for $40. It's selling for $100 on eBay. But then what? Those few copies sell, and then the interest dies down, and then what? I'm stuck with like multiple $40 books. That doesn't really do a whole lot for me. So I try not to be greedy. It's not just a moral thing. It is a little bit. I want to leave other comics for other people, but no, if I sell 10 copies of 181 in that dollar bin, I would buy all 10 copies. I wouldn't even tell. I would tell the shop owner the 10th appearance.
You would call your boys and give them out. At least give them out to your boys.
All right,
don't have them.
I might give some deals.
He's like, I might let him read a copy.
181? No, I'm going to the back.
Fuck.
He says,
I'm going to the back 181.
And you know what? And I thought about it the other day, and I was like checking myself, and I was like, yo, Pete, will you do that? And I was like, no, I wouldn't. You know why? Because I would keep at least 2 to 3 for myself, and then call up all my other friends and be like, yo, I found these books. You want them? What's good? Of course you do. Here you go. I'm sending them out. You know,
what did you just call yourself, Morb?
Huh?
What did you just call yourself, Morb?
I just called myself Morb. I know what I said. Don't even catch the replay, and y'all can catch what I just said.
I thought he had another name.
I'm a little, you know what I'm saying? I had like this about to here now. Now it's here. Okay?
No, the ice melted. The ice melted.
Yeah, there you go. So if y'all ain't catch the replay. But anyway, no, Justin, I know you was kind of catch me out there. No, okay? I will get 5 books, and I will call my rest of my boys and give out the rest, because I will not keep all those books for myself. No
I'm not saying you don't have to keep them. I'm just saying, would you right then and there buy buy them, especially if a guy's behind you that's going to go through the same box as you.
Well, first of all, I want to make sure all my friends have them. So if it takes all 10, then it takes all 10. But me personally, I'm not going to take all 10 for myself.
What if Rob was standing right behind you? He's like, yo, bro, let me get in that box. And you're like, hold on.
Then me and Rob are fighting.
Rob, careful. He will check you. He will.
He might fuck me up because I can tell Rob's bigger than me. But
let's say I was going to buy all 10 and Morbius was behind me and he said, yo, Rob, let me get one. I would give him one.
Oh, that's my man.
What a guy.
That's my man.
He's like, only you, though.
Just one. That's all I want. I'll take one. Thank you.
All right, so if that ever happens, we have to hold Rob to it.
I got rent to pay, though. You've seen those prices on that book. It's not even the same.
Man. Look, guys, we're hitting the 5-minute mark here, a little less than that. So I'd like to kind of round it out.
Let's go to these chats real quick. Let's go, and then we go. Let's go.
I've been trying, throwing a couple up here.
Wait. I saw one comment in the chat. I want to address it. Somebody said, "Brother Voodoo and not Blade." I do like Blade. I was just saying, no, Blade's nobody's. Well, all right, I don't want to say that because that's probably not true anymore. But back in the '90s, Blade was nobody's first favorite character. No. He was a dude that showed up on the Spider-Man cartoon, and that's all anybody knew about him. Also, if that Ghost Rider run, there was I don't know. I was big into Ghost Rider in the '90s, so I knew Blade. But I do like Blade. I do like Brother Voodoo. I don't know. I kind of like the magic thing. I'm glad that Marvel is going in the magic direction. I read Captain Marvel last month. I thought it was good. So I'm into that. So I don't know. Brother Voodoo to me, once he got into Doctor Strange's world, that you kind of pulled me in a little bit more. That's all. I do like Blade. I got love for Blade, and I got love for the movie. Maybe not all the sequels, but
hey, maybe you like the new stuff when it comes out. Who knows?
Yeah. How many times people didn't say that with Iron Man?
That's what I always tell people. Nobody in the
Iron Man
90s liked Iron Man.
Fuck about Iron Man.
Yeah. In the 90s, I don't know. In
Nobody
the 90s,
gave a fuck about Iron Man.
You liked War Machine. That's who you liked. You didn't like Iron Man.
Yeah. War Machine was more. He was like the Punisher of the Iron Suit. Right?
War Machine was man. You didn't like.
That's what people liked. Nobody liked Iron Man. I don't. Growing up, I don't think people's uncles maybe liked Iron Man.
You're chopping up a little there, Morbius.
Hold it right there.
Oh, we hear you, but you're not moving.
I mean, publishers are smarter now. The issues.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you. My bad, Morbius. You were freezing up. We didn't. Yeah, you were. Yeah. Or you're frozen right now, but we could hear you.
Can I say, though, I love the Second Prince. I'm a big fan of the Second Prince. I got a lot of them in my collection. The ones that go up in value that I don't have, I'm mad at.
Hey, Rob, we always say you can't have everything. Why? Because where would you put it? It's all that space you have behind you will get filled up way too quick. And then
let me tell you, though, I used to be a runs collector, and I stopped. I sold all my runs. I had big runs. I had all the Punishers. At one point, I had every single comic that was published that was about the Punisher. But I learned you can't runs take up room in your apartment, man. They take up space, and a lot of them are not valuable. So it's like at a certain point, I made the decision. I sold a large chunk of my collection, and I just started focusing on books I really like, and I have no regrets. So
yeah,
you hit it right on there when you said books you like, books that you appreciate and you want in your collection, and that's what it's all about, guys. And once again, we are not experts. We are just here sharing our opinion, speaking based on our experience and what we know. So yeah, man. Oh yeah, and please hit that like button.
Massage that like button.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you know what I mean? Like, violate that like button.
Comics are great. Says Morbius, you need that gigabit connection. There you go.
Oh yeah. Today's been acting up, man.
It's that New York City internet.
It's acting up, man. It's the weather, bro.
Thomas Chapman said he would never post all 7 copies of 181 because Morbius would get pissed at him.
Oh no, I wouldn't even tell anybody I had 9 copies.
Yeah, you right.
Dude, I'll hunt you down.
Mr. Unknown says take some, leave some. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, guys, we're wrapping up on this. We're wrapping up.
Don't even get me started right now, man. I knew you thought I was lying, bro.
Listen, before we close out, I want to give Rob the floor. Rob, let the people know where they can find you and if you have anything coming up.
Okay, I don't got much to say. I just got to say 5 years ago I started at Comic Book Rob on Instagram. It's been so much fun. I love chatting about comic books. I don't have enough people in my life that talk about comics, and I've really found an awesome outlet on Instagram. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. Literally, I met Morbius. and Justin just liking their photos on Instagram, and it's kind of incredible what goes on Instagram with our community. And also, comic books today rule. 2021 comic books are awesome. I hate and will fight people that say the industry is dying or dead, because it's not. It's awesome.
Damn right.
I love it. I love it. Way to close it out here, Rob.
Yeah, right? Put the gloves
Thank you,
on
guys.
for the books. That's what I'm talking about.
We don't need to sell a million books for the industry to be healthy.
You know, before we leave, also, I just want to touch on what Rob said. So
Yeah.
when I started on this IG about a little over a year ago, actually it was Rob and Justin, the two people who actually supported me from the jump, you know what I mean? I had barely any, followers. I had barely any post up, and these guys followed my stuff, engaged with me, interacted with me. So it's funny how both of you guys are on here, and like both of you guys are two guys that from the beginning, I was like, yo, I looked up to you guys are awesome. I respect you guys' pages. I respect what you guys are doing. And I'm just grateful to get to know you guys and engage with you guys. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I definitely respect you, man. Honor you guys, man, for real. And anybody who ain't following these guys, you need to go kill yourself right now.
There's too many people follow me. I never in my wildest dreams ever thought that I would have this many followers. I literally started my page because I was bothering people.
That's how it starts, man. From the humble perspective, man. You came from the heart, bro. And that's what I love about it, man. And everybody here comes from the heart. Everybody in the chat is coming from the heart, because you're here rolling with us, and everybody watching the replay also, we love you guys as well. And I know Justin got to go. He got another show. He got like 5 shows after this, if you don't know. Right?
I got 5
he's going to like 3 a.m. Like, he's just nonstop. He's an animal, I tell you.
A beast. Well, yeah, no, just want to add on. Yeah, Rob, appreciate you, man, for coming on board here, being part of this. I was telling Morbius that I was like, man, I followed Rob probably ever since I created stuff. Oh, they're on right now. Holy crap.
Yeah, I'm going to watch as soon as I get off with you guys.
Shoot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But yeah, man, I was telling Morbius, I was like, I've known Rob for a very long time. I even have you as like one of the close friends. I have you marked as one of them. But I was like, man, I don't think I really got to talk with you. So this is cool that we're able to really connect in this way, get a personality, see your face and catch up on comic books. So anytime you want to talk comics, man, don't hesitate.
Let me know.
Sure.
When I'm in school, who knows? I might tell you no, but if you ever need a guest, I love talking about comics. So anytime.
Yeah,
brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, Rob. For real.
And make sure everyone in the chat, make sure you're subbed up to Morbius. We're trying to get that man over 100. So let's do that very soon. He's almost there. So go sub him up. Information is below for both of these guys. Until then, we'll be back next week. We got another guest lined up. It's going to be a good one. So till next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.
Later.